Welcome back. Previously, we have briefly mentioned about the concept of fitting a normal distribution, otherwise known as finding out the theoretical frequency distribution on the base of actual frequency distribution. So, in that case, you will be given class limits, or you may be given a class series, otherwise known as continuous series, with frequency values. From that, you need to find the theoretical frequencies. And there are certain steps with regard to that. Let us discuss in detail regarding how to fit a normal distribution. Fitting normal distribution. These are the various steps with regard to that. Some steps may be confusing for few of you, but we will discuss in detail each of these steps. Then you will get a clear picture regarding how to fit a normal distribution. So let us discuss with a case. Fit a normal curve to the following data. Class is given. Corresponding frequencies is also given. And if you go through the details regarding the question, you may find that there is an issue with the class. It is not in a continuous pattern. I hope you all know what is meant by continuous pattern, because class means it will be usually in a continuous form. Continuous form means 5 to 10, next one is 10 to 12 or 10 to 20, 20 to 25, like that. That means the end limit of one class will be the start limit of another class. See, here the class begins with 5, ends in 9, but in the second class it begins with 10 instead of 9, or otherwise we could have used 10 here. Anyway, this is not in a continuous pattern. You need to prepare a new continuous series, and we have learned about that part in the statistics part in the third sem BCom, or you might have learned the same in your smaller classes. So anyway, let us do with that. So you need to find the lower limit and upper limit of the real class. Here the lower limit of first one is 5 and the upper limit is 9. You need to make necessary adjustments so as to bring the class in a continuous pattern. For that, you need to use an equation. Lower class boundary. Lower class boundary means this one, 5. This one is the lower class, that is the lower value, and this one is the higher value. So lower class limit, actual lower class limit can be obtained by whatever the number given in this case minus 0.5. 0.5 has to be deducted in the first starting number. And for finding the upper class boundary here it is 9. Since it is not in a continuous form, you need to make necessary correction. So upper class limit plus 0.5. So that is the equation for finding the lower class and upper class limits of the new continuous series. Likewise, let us write down all these data in actual continuous form in a tabular form. So it will be like this. The new class will be 4.5 to 9.5, 9.5 to 14.5, like that until 29.5. All these steps are similar, and all these steps are, maybe you are familiar with these steps because you have learned in some part of the third sem and also in some of your statistics class in your smaller classes. So this is how you have to deal with the class limit arrangement. Once you set the class limit, you need to find out the first step with regard to fitting a normal distribution is you need to find the mean and standard deviation. So how we are going to find the mean? In this case, class is given, corresponding frequency is given. So we can use the easiest method for finding the mean of a certain value. You can use any method for finding the mean. You can use either the discrete series situation or continuous series situation, and we have learned many cases with regard to how to find the mean. In case of continuous series also, there are different methods, and we have learned only one method in case of your statistics area in third sem, but you might have learned many methods during your smaller classes. So go through it. Anyway, let me show you how to find the mean. So here f is given, and since it is a continuous series pattern where f is given, you need to take the total of f. So sigma f equal to 100. Next one, it is a class. especially a continuous series. So you need to find the mid x. So mid-x of each of these class is 7, 12, 17, 22 and 27. I hope you all know how to find the mid-x. Once you find the mid-x, you need to use the next one, d square. I am using that pattern, that method for computing mean. You can use any method for finding mean. D square means take the square of the deviations. Here I am selecting so mid-x. In this case, the computation of mean is used in another method. I will be showing in detail how to find the mean. You can use any of the method which you have learned in the case of third semester as well as in your smaller classes. So next one, there is another equation that is d dash. D dash otherwise known as signless d. Signless d can be obtained by the equation x minus a divided by c. X minus a divided by c. Here x means each of the middle values and a means assumed mean and c means class interval. It's another method for finding the mean. So next one, d dash. D dash means x minus a divided by c. So in first case x value is 7 minus a. A means an assumed value. In this case I am using the middle value of the mid-x 17. So 7 minus 17 divided by c. C means the class interval. Here the class interval is 5 because if you take the difference between 4.5 and 9.5 you will get 5. So class interval is 5. So how I got minus 2? It is first one 7 minus my assumed mean was 17. A represents assumed mean. So 7 minus 17 divided by 5 I will get minus 2. So next one 12 minus assumed mean 17 divided by 5 I will get minus 1. 17 minus 17 by 5 you will get 0. 22 minus 17 by 5 you will get 1. 27 minus 17 divided by 5 you will get 2. That is how I have got d dash, or otherwise known as signless d, or deviations. It's better to study it as deviation. Next one, fd1. fd1 means you need to multiply the frequency with the d dash, you will get fd. So 10 into minus 2 minus 20, 22 into minus 1 minus 22, 40 into 0 0, 21 into 1 21, 7 into 2 40, and you need to take the total of fd1, you will get minus 7. After that you need to find the final column fd dash square. Fd dash square means it is not the square of fd dash, it is obtained by multiplying d dash and fd dash. So d dash and fd dash, minus 2 into minus 20 40, minus 1 into minus 22 22, 0, 1 into 22 21, 2 into 14 28. Once you found out all the values of each of the columns, you need to take the total of each of these respective columns, that is f column, fd dash column and fd dash 2 column. So take these totals, and once you find the totals of each of these columns, we will be using another special equation for finding mean. Mean equal to a plus sigma fd divided by n into c. It is an equation for finding mean. If you are not familiar with this equation, try to use the mean method or the equation method which we have learned in case of third semester. If you are getting the same value, if it is fine to go with that. Otherwise, learn this method. So mean equal to a plus sigma fd by n into c. Here a means assumed mean. In this case, I assumed this one as assumed mean. I hope you all know what is meant by assumed mean. And here it is 17. You can select any number as the assumed mean. From index you can select any number as assumed mean. Here I selected 17. That is why 17 plus sigma fd. sigma fd is minus 7 divided by n. N means sigma f 100 into c means class intervals. What is the difference between these two values? That is known as class interval. So by solving this, you will get mu 16.65. That is mean of this particular series. Once you find the mean, you need to find standard deviation. Standard deviation is sigma fd dash square divided by n minus sigma fd dash by n the whole square into c. This is another equation for finding standard deviation. You can either try one of the equation which we have learned in the third semester for finding the standard deviation. So sigma fd dash square is 111 divided by n is capital N, that is total of frequency 100, minus sigma fd dash. Sigma fd dash is minus 7 it is minus 7 and you try to put the minus 7 here because the sigma fd is minus 7, but after solving the brackets, that is minus 7 divided by 100 raised to square, you will get a positive value, so it doesn't matter, into 5. By solving that, you will get standard deviation 5.25. So we have got mean and standard deviation. This is the first step which we have to follow with regard to fitting a normal distribution curve. And remember, next step I am going to show is actually a part of your computation, but it doesn't have any direct relation with your computation part. It may have to be written as part of your answering, but it doesn't affect your computation. If you leave that step, it doesn't affect your computation, but it's better to write down the next step because it doesn't have any relation with the computation. Remember, it doesn't have any relation with your further computations, but it is better to show that step. So the next step is write down the mean, standard deviation and the other necessary values in the form of normal distribution equation like this. Fx equal to 1 by divided by root of 2 mu into 5.25 e raised to minus 1 by 2 into x minus 16.65 divided by 5.25 raised to 2. You may find it confusing. Yes, exactly, you will get confused surely, because if you refer the previous sessions at the beginning of the normal distribution, we have discussed about an equation function. Even though it doesn't have any direct relation with the computation, it is the actual representation of a normal distribution. So the thing is, you have to learn the equation, and the only thing is you are just substituting the values in this equation. Here is the 2 mu. Instead of mu, you can write 2 into 16.65 and into standard deviation 5.25. E raised to minus 1 by 2 into x. We don't know. We are going to find that part. Minus 16.65. That is x minus mu divided by standard deviation the whole square. That is the equation part. It's better to write down this normal distribution function, but remember, it doesn't have an effect on your computation. But it's better to write down this step. So once you write down this step, we are going to the real computation where we are going to find out the theoretical distributions of the x and f variable given in the question. So next step, that is the main one, where you have to write down 5 columns. First one is class limits, second one is z table equation, z equal to x minus mu divided by standard deviation. We already find mu and standard deviation 5.25. Next one, area from the table. We will discuss that part, and after that area for classes, and finally theoretical frequency. For finding this last column only, we are doing all these steps. So first one, class limits. Class limits is even though the concept is write down the lower values of the class limit, but it's better to follow like this. In your text, it is written like first one, it is dash. In some other text, in different authors, they will use different patterns. In some text, they will use an alpha sign. In some text, they will use an infinity sign. In our text, they are using dash. But instead of that, we will follow another one that is much better from the examination point of view. I hope you all know the class limits. Class 1 4.5 to 9.5, 9.5 like that it will go till 29.5. So we will write down just like this, almost similar. See, 4.5. Let us begin with 4.5, and remember it will end with 29.5. That is the last number. So the class limits will be written as first number is the smallest value of the entire class and the last number is the largest value of the entire class. In between these two values, you will write down all the lower limits of each class. First one is 4.5, 9.5. We have written that. After that only you have to consider. Next one, 9.5 and 14.5. Which one is smaller? 9.5. So 9.5. Next one, 14.5 and 19.5. It is actually 14.5. 14.5. Next one, 19.5. After that, 24.5. And finally, 29.5. So this is how you write down, and it will be much better rather than this one. So I hope you understand the concept. Write down the smallest number at the beginning and write down the largest number at the end. And you may think that, see, 1 2 3 4 5 here, 1 2 3 4 5 6, there will be a difference. Don't worry about it, because we are writing down all the lower limits in between and writing down in extra the smallest number in the series and the largest number in the series at the beginning and at the end. Actually, for the computation, the smallest number and the largest number doesn't matter. It doesn't affect your computation. That is why they are using dash. In some text they are using dash, in another text they are using infinity sign. So anyway, we can write the smallest number in the beginning and largest number at the end, but it doesn't affect our computation. And in between these values, in between these two values, we will write down all the lower limit numbers. So once you write down the class limits, next one you need to find z. Z means x minus mu divided by standard deviation. We already found mu and standard deviation also found. And x minus, what is the meaning of x? From this one, class limit is represented as x. So in each case you have to take the value in the instead of x. First one, I have mentioned that 4.5 and 29.5 is actually doesn't affect our computation. We need not have to take that. That is why here it is dash, because earlier it was dash. In some text it is using another sign. So it does, since it doesn't affect our computation, let it remain as nothing. So after that, 9.5. So 9.5 means 9.5 minus 16.65 divided by 5.25. Solve that and you will get 1.36. So write down the value and use the corresponding signs after you get the computation. So put the negative value. Next one, x minus mu divided by standard deviation. We are going to the next variable, that is 14.5. So 14.5 minus 16.65 divided by 5.25. You will get so 14.5 minus 16.65 divided by 5.25, you will get minus 0.41. Next one, 19.5 minus 16.65 divided by 5.25, you will get 0.54, but it is a plus sign. Remember to put the plus sign. Next one, 24.5 minus 16.65 divided by 5.25, you will get 1.49, which can be rounded as 1 plus 1.50. And finally, the last number, we will not take that, so let it remain dash. So once you have found the z values of each of the individual variables, next you need to find the area from the table. On the basis of the value, you need to check the Z table and find out the area as per the table. So these are the values which can be found out by using the table. This one, see first one, see, even though this one is a dash, here also it was a dash, we will begin that value as the extreme number as per the table. If you go to the table value section, you will see that the last number of that one is 0.5. Why we did like that is, area from the table, it will begins from 0.5 and it will ends in 0.5. That is the concept. So in the lowest limit and in the highest limit, you need to put 0.5. Remember to put this 0.5 at the beginning and at the end. After that, minus 1.36. So you go for 1.36, 1.36, 1.36, 0.4131. So write that like that, 0.4131. Next one, 0.41 or otherwise known as 0.41. So 0.4 and 1, that is 0.1591. So write down like that. You need not have to worry about the negative sign, but you have to consider it in the next column. You write down the area as per the area value as per the table. Next one, 0.54, again like that, 0.5 and 4. It is a point where 0.5 and 0.04 meet. 0.2054. See, 2054. Next one, 1.5. So 1.5 here, 1.5, 0, 1.5 or 1.0, it's all remain the same. That is 0.4332. So we write down the 4332, and the lower limit and upper limit values will remain as 0.5000, like that. Once you find the area from the table, next means area for classes. What is the area in between these two values? We have learned that method at the beginning of the normal distribution cases, where you will be given two values and from the table you need to identify the area values and what is the area in between those two values, and you will take the difference or addition or subtraction depending upon the sign or depending upon the side in which those points stand. That was the concept. The same method has to be used here. What is the area in between those values? So how we are going to find the area in between the classes? Here the classes begins from 4.9, 9.5, 9.5, 14.5, 14.2, 19, like that, 29.5, and we have written down each of the classes and its limits. So area for classes means what is the difference between each of these classes depending on the limits which we have written here. So first one is 0.5 and next area of the next class is 0.4131. So you need to take the addition or subtraction, and how we are going to deal that is, here the 0.5, whatever the sign here it is, that will be the sign here also. So that is same sign. Usually the table will be like this. It will, first half will be minus, the next half will be plus. That is the concept. So here 0.5 we can assume it as the left hand side of the curve, that is negative 0.5, and 0.4131 represents minus 1.36. That means these two values belongs to the same side. So when two area values belongs to the same side, how we are going to find the difference between those areas, or what is the area in between these 2 points? That is the exact lining of that sentence. What is the difference between these two lines or these 2 points? You need to take the difference between these 2 points, that is 0.5 minus 0.4131, you will get 0.0869. Why we have taken subtraction? Because these two lines or these 2 points belongs to the same side of the curve. Because here we have got minus 1.36 and here we have written 0.5. 0.5 means it is a one end of the limit, that is the left hand side, that will be minus. Because the table will always begins from minus, it will come towards the middle, and the middle value will be a plus or a minus sign. Following that there will be positive values. Just see the second column, it begins minus, minus, after that plus, like that. So you need to take the difference, you will get 0.869. Next, you need to find the difference between these 2 points, that is 0.431 and 0.591, whether you have to add or subtract. That also depend upon the sign from which these values has been found. 0.4131 is obtained from the value minus 1.36. 0.159 is obtained from the value minus 0.41. Here these two have same sign. So whenever two values have same sign, you take the difference between these 2 points. So for 0.4131 minus 0.1591, you will get 0.2540. I hope you understand why we have taken the difference. We have taken the difference. We need to find the area in between these 2 points. Since these two points has been found on the base of negative values, we have taken difference. Next one. This is a crucial one. You need to find the subtraction, whether it is you need to subtract or add these two values. That also depend upon the signs from which the value has been identified. One is minus, another is plus. When the two values have two different signs, it means they belongs to two different sides of the graph. So you need to add. Then you will get a value. Since it has two different signs, you need to take the addition, then you will get 0.3645. After that, next one, 0.2054 and 0.4322. And if you look for the values from which it has been derived, they both have same sign, so you need to take the difference between these one. So you will get 2278, and after that finally next one 0.4322 and 0.50, and both have same sign, so the difference is 0.0668. So once you find the area in between these classes, we have got the probability with regarding each of these, that is represented as P of X. We have done the same step in the beginning of the normal distribution cases. The same has been represented in a column wise statement. That is the only difference. Once you find the probability, the last step is very easy. You need to find the theoretical frequencies. That is, just multiply whatever the number you have got here with the capital N. Capital N means the total of frequency. So here the total of frequency is 100. So if you multiply each of these frequencies with 100, you will get the corresponding theoretical frequencies. For first one, 0.869 into 10, you will get a rounded value, that is 9. We can round the value because theoretical frequencies will always be represented in a single numerical value rather than a decimal or a fraction. So 9. Next one, 20.2540 into 10, you will get 25. Next one, 0.3645 into 10, you will get 36. Next one, 0.2278 into 10, you can write it as 23. And finally, 0.0668, you will get 7. And the last and both ends, that is the beginning ends, the lower limit and the upper limit, let it remain the dash. So you have got the theoretical frequencies with regard to the X and F given in the question. So this is what you have to find out, and for finding out this one, you are using the fitting your normal distribution setup, where we have followed all these steps. I hope you understand the concept. The only concept is you make sure the computation of mean and computation of standard deviation methods which you are trying to use, whether you are getting the same answer. If you are getting the easiest method and getting the same answer, you can follow that. Otherwise, try to follow the method which I have shown here. Once you find the mean and standard deviation, you need to write down all these columns and be very careful while dealing with all these steps. Even though it's very easy, but it will be very confusing because signs play an important role as well as the values. And remember, see, Here all these values will be in the straight. First three columns, your numbers or the values will be in the same line. From the fourth column, see, your 0.0869 is in between these two values, because this is the difference between these two values. So you have to write in between these two numbers. Remember to do that. Never write the value in any of the lines, because this one represents the area in between these 2 points. So you need to write down in between these two values. That is why it is written in a bracket. See, so while writing in an examination, it has to be written in between the 2 points. In between 2 points means in between 0.5 and 0.4131. It will be written in 2 different lines. So try to write in between these 2 points, that is in that particular line, splitting these 2 points. And after that, this one 0.4131 and 0.1591. See, the 0.2540 is written in between these two values. See, in the examination time, while writing in a line paper, in that time only it will be confusing in which side you have to write down. But you have to be very careful. It should be written in between these 2 points. So likewise, you have to do like this. See, that is the concept with regard to the computation. You have to be very cautious. All these steps are to be very cautiously done. Just go through all these steps, understand the concept. If you have any queries, please let me know. We will begin with the next module in the next session. Until now, go through all these areas.